Back earlier during the summer, I went on Amazon and I had already decided I was going to do some air layering, and I bought one of these root ball things that you see advertised all over the internet, and I figured for the price I'd give it a shot. Today I'm going to show you what I did, and I'm going to show you the results and how I got this plant on an air layer using these root balls, and I'm going to give you my thumbs up and my thumbs downs on these products, so stay tuned. I'm Randall for Floribama Homestead. Today we're out in the fig orchard. I guess you can call it an orchard. I have about 15 trees in ground in a line here out in the garden area. I've been collecting figs probably going on 6 years now, and I kind of fell off where I wasn't collecting them as much. I wasn't interactive into the forums as much as whenever I first got started. But since I moved to this property, I took all the figs that I had and I transplanted them here. Now, I went to my friend Cajun B, Brian, over in the Thibodaux, Louisiana area during July for a fig gathering that he hosted. And I'd been over there a time or two before, and I've known Brian ever since I started collecting figs. Well, when I got over there, I promised myself this year I was going to get back into figs because it's something I really enjoy. I love all the different flavor profiles that figs have. Honey figs, sugar figs, berry figs, and then you just got different flavor profiles within each one of those. Some of them being a cherry, a strawberry, raspberry, cinnamon. And I'm not talking about dominant flavors, I'm talking about undertones, little hints of different flavors that you can pick up. As a kid, I always thought that the only fig tree there was the brown turkey, because that's what everybody planted around here whenever I was growing up. And I always heard, get a brown turkey, it's the best. And then when you got active into the forums, I come to find out that nobody that collects figs collects brown turkey. And after I tasted these collector style different tier groups of figs, I understand why. And Michelle, because we have a big brown turkey that was here whenever we got here, and I go over there and I fill up on those things, but Michelle just doesn't, she can't stomach those. But you come over here and give her a good berry flavored fig, and she's all in. She just wants to come out here every day and see what figs are ripe, but she won't go over to the brown turkey. So after my visit with Brian at the gathering, I came back and I did some air layers. And I just want to get back into propagating figs, because propagating figs in itself is a lot of fun. So I went on Amazon and I bought these root ball propagating devices, and you can pick them up $1 to $2 a piece in different bundle size packages, but they lock together. Let me get my knife here, with these little tabs. So in August I came out here and I put some air layers on our LSU champagne plant that you have here. Now, LS champagne is a very precocious type fig. It sends up a lot of shoots from the root area, and everything you see here is all from this year's growth. I don't know what happened to this fig, but every year it would fall back to the ground and break off. So all this growth is just this year's fig. So I got back, I ordered these root ball things. You see the size of this, and I also ordered the small ones, and I wanted to try this on some smaller plants, and I got some tea plants. Now, I haven't looked at the results of those yet, and I haven't looked at the results of how these air layers have done for me. These have been on for several months through the growing season, and I wanted to bring you along and show you the results that we're having with these air layering propagating root ball things that you can get real cheap off of Amazon and eBay. And we're going to take a look at this. All right, so I got several of them that were limbs that were hanging low to the ground. Let's snip this off right here. Now this one's got some ants in it. All right, here we go. We're going to see how this does. But you can see right away the ants coming out. It looks like the tabs were starting to pop open. For whatever reason, those tabs are coming open. Now when you get these, they send them with little Ziploc ties so that you can put through the little holes at each one of the four corners. There's a hole so you can zip tie it shut so that that separation doesn't happen. And I may do that in the future if I decide to keep using these. We're going to see what the results are real quick. Let's go ahead and take our knife and let's pop these little tabs open. And let's take a look and see how these little propagating root balls did. All right. Well, it looks like to me that it did really, really well. There's a lot of roots in there. Look at that. Now they say that you can air layer a plant in just 6 weeks. It got hot, and during the summertime I don't really come out and do much in the hot summer heat, not as much as I should. So I just left these on. But that's a nice little root ball layer. I got some real good roots in there. I'm gonna take a look at all those roots that I've got. Not bad. Now I think the part that was setting up towards the sun, not as many roots as there, and I can understand why. Black plastic here in the southern United States, it probably got 100 and stupid inside that and killed those roots. But I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. So let's snip some of these others and take a look. Now I also did a one of these on a mulberry plant over there, and I want to go over there in a second and take a look at those and see how that turned out on mulberries. And then I have some little camellias, tea camellias, that you make like southern style sweet tea out of, and I wanted to put the little ones on it because that's about how big those limbs are, and I wanted to see how that would turn out. So a little half-hearted attempt. But the little ones were real cheap, and I said, well, those are cheap enough. I can just give those a shot and see if they work or not, and we'll just do a video and showing you guys if it's worth the money. I honestly don't think that it is worth the money, but that's my premature idea. Yep, that one looks good. A lot of roots in that. So overall, I have to say I'm pretty happy with that. Now that's where it was touching the ground and it started forming roots whenever it was laying on the ground like that. So we could actually put this in pot right up to there, and you'll probably end up continuing growing roots right down that root ball, that stem there. And last one for this plant. And then we're going to go over and take a look at some of the other plants that we have propagated with these root ball things. Now I'm kind of surprised that these things didn't just rot from the UV sun beating down on them over the course of the last few months, because it was still hot from August, September, October. Still really warm here. Now I don't know about this one so much. Oh, I guess on the bottom side I got plenty of roots on the bottom side, and it looks like I got some new growth coming on right there. So maybe as the temperatures came down, it decided to send out some new roots. But yeah, look at all those roots. That's not bad. You know, it's pretty simple to use. You just put you some potting soil on each one of these halves, and then you close it up around a limb. I'll demonstrate to you in a minute how to do one of these air layers on a fig. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and do it now. All right, so we got a nice little stick right here, and we could try to propagate this one little limb and see if we can get some roots to grow. So what we do is we take 1/2 of our shell, and I just get some potting soil out of the bag here, and I just not pack it down, just firm it in there. And then we're just going to make sure the channel is clear so that whenever the stem lays in there, it won't be blocked And then we're just going to do the other side, just like that. So just move the little dirt out of that little channel there and there. Leave it flat along there so you get plenty of good contact. All right, now we got to prepare the stick. I want this root ball to rest right on that limb so that it's not sliding down or sliding up, so we're just going to place it to where we go right on that limb. So we're just going to mark right where we want the roots to join. I'm going to take my knife. We want our roots to go in about right there. So what you want to do is you just want to go around it and girdle. We're just going to girdle that limb. Now what that does is that stops the nutrient uptake to the limb. So this limb wants to survive. So what it's going to do is it's going to find out that it can't send the sugars from the leaves back down to be stored in the roots. So it's going to have to set some roots. It's going to want to set roots. So we have messed up the nutrient flow right there. So that we've girdled. We take our let's get some rooting hormone. And I've had this rooting powder for probably 6 years now. I probably need to get some more. I'm about out anyway. There's only just a little bit left in there. And I just take some rooting hormone and just go around where it's injured. And then where each leaf was at is called a node. At each node you have undifferentiated cells. They're kind of like, you can kind of think of them as stem cells as humans. Those cells are sitting there and they don't know whether they want to be leaves, they don't know if they want to be bark, they don't know if they want to be roots. So we're going to encourage them to be roots. So each one of those nodes that's going to be covered up, we're going to give it the rooting hormone. All right, so we got a little bit of rooting hormone on there. We'll grab our air laying propagating, put it on there, get those limbs out of the way, pull it together. And then just close the little tabs. Now you can run the zip ties through here if you want to. I know this isn't going to make roots. This is just a demonstration. Because as you can tell, it's Christmas time. We have Christmas in 2 days here. And in order to do an air layer, this needs to be actively growing. We need to have constant growth. So the best time to do an air layer is once the plant starts waking up, all the way to the end of the growing season as it's starting to taper off. You don't really want to set any air layers late August, September, because usually in October your plants are going to start slowing down as the temperatures are getting cooler, and so it's going to start storing all those carbohydrates out of the leaves back down into the roots. So you're not going to be setting roots on these plants. But that's how you do the air layer. It's really that simple. There's really nothing to it, just a little rooting hormone and some potting soil. Girdle the bottom of the limb and then clamp it up. And if this was the active growing season, in about 6 weeks we would have roots. Now let's go on over, let's have a look at our mulberry and see how our mulberry did, and then I want to show you the tea plants that we have. All right, we're over here at our mulberry. This is Pakistan. This was given to me. I put it in the ground about middle of summertime. I don't remember what month I put it in ground, but it put on a lot of growth right after I put it in ground. So I figured let's put on an air layer and let's try to propagate a plant off of it and maybe help somebody else out that's looking to get a Pakistan mulberry. We'll start off with this large limb that's here at the bottom. Let's take a look at this and come closer. Let's have a look. Right there it was starting to break away, come unfastened. Just take our knife, slip right in there, give it a little twist. Those tabs will pop off. Right here. And give that one a little twist. All right. There we go. Right off I see that we have just a few roots and it looks like all the soil was falling away. So we didn't get a good air layer on this one. And usually mulberries are very easy to get to root. Now I notice on the bottom side that there are some roots, but it's not as much as I was hoping. That's not too bad. You can see right there where the limb was at. Those roots. Get a good focus in so you can see where they off there. Looks like the ants had moved in. That may be also why we don't have a good amount of roots. The ants may have hindered that. Now we're going to take this and we're going to go up pot it real quick right after this video. And I'm sure that this plant's going to do fine. Mulberries love to set roots. They love to grow. They're generally just really easy. Now that was a big propagation ball. I don't have any faith in this little one. We're going to have a look and see what it did. It was put on at the same time. I got calcium, but I have no roots. You see where it calloused up right there, like it was getting ready to set roots, but then it never did set roots. I'm propagating some fig pop cuttings right now. I'm gonna put this in a bag of potting soil. I'm gonna put it on bottom heat, and we're gonna see if we can get this little mulberry to set some roots. So we're not through with this little stick yet. If you want to know what I'm talking about by the fig pop method, you can look for that video a little bit later, as I still got to film that, and I want to get to that today. So if you don't find it, look back in a day or two, and you'll probably see the fig pop video post. All right, we're going to set that down. We'll come back and we'll get that. Let's go on over and have a look at the tea plants. I'm sure they're going to be about the way of the mulberry, because all the tea plants were using this little small propagating thing. But as of right now, I can't recommend these. The larger ones, I'm pretty pleased with these. All right, we're over here at our tea camellias, and I think these are called Sinsenka or something like that, but it's the tea plants like over in the Far East that they pick the leaves off of, and then they process them, and you can make green tea, white tea, black tea out of this. And I have a whole row of these planted here, and I gave it a shot. I really wasn't happy with how it turned out. That's for a later video. All right, so I'm going to take this little cutting here, and if this doesn't work out, I'm going to stick this one into the fig pop propagating with bottom heat, and we're going to see what we can do with this and get this one to root also. All right, here we go. Absolutely nothing. Got some little ants in there, but several months in there, and we have 0 results. Let's go ahead and pull these leaves off of here. We're going to cut this into sections, and in hopes that we can get it to root. All right, I'm not going to waste the time showing you any more of these. Yes, I am. We're just going to take a look since we're right here. Oh, no, look at this. We actually do have roots on this one. We'll go ahead and take this one off. Look at there, guys. How neat is that? That little tea bush actually did set some roots. That is so exciting. So I know who's going to get these tea plants, and I know she's going to be happy to see these roots. So we're going to take this in, we're going to pot this one up as soon as this video is over. But I got another one here, let's take a look. No roots there either, guys. And then one more. And no roots on that one. All right, so we had one set roots. They look pretty decent, but overall, the small propagating globes, that's a no-go. I can't recommend it. I would actually advise against it. If you want to propagate, I advise getting the larger ones. Now I got one more thing that I want to show you. I'm going to take you back over to the fig orchard. And I have 2 more cuttings that I set root balls on. I got one that I did in late August. So it was probably a month behind the first set of air layers that I showed you. But let's take a look here and see how this one turned out. This is called Dominique's Italian. This is my wife's favorite fig. Let's take a look and see what this did. And I'm gonna take this off the plant because if it didn't set roots, I'm just gonna leave this limb on here. All right, guys, we've got roots. Let's go ahead and take it off and I'll show you. They're nothing to brag about, but we have roots on there. I'm just going to break some of this dirt away. Let's take a look at these roots. All right, one other thing I want to show you. Now, when I set this root ball, I took my knife and I scored all the way down because the theory was that if you make an injury, roots are supposed to come out of that injury. I have no roots coming out of that injury right there. Most of the other roots that I have are around the nodes, so they're not down the lines. There's 1 or 2 that are in the cut, but I think that has to do more with that it's on top of the node than it does being so much of the cut. All right, so I think for my future propagations, I'm not going to cause the injury of slicing down through there because it doesn't look like it's doing very much. But those aren't bad. We can pot that up and that'll survive. We'll go ahead and pot that up and let that stay dormant, and then in the springtime that'll probably come back and put on growth because there's already good roots there. I'll come back and pick that up in a minute. I got one more that I want to show you. We have Scots Yellow over here, and Scots Yellow has been a wonderful, wonderful tree for me. I absolutely love how this tree has performed. Nice, big, juicy, sweet figs. I don't like sugar figs as much as I like the berry figs, kind of like my wife. You know, we're probably not going to collect any more sugar figs to put in the ground. We're just going to go with the nice, rich, berry flavored dark figs. But I got this one right here, the Scots Yellow. Go ahead and sever it. Looks like the ants are all in it. So we're going to see how this turned out. Try not to get bit by any of these ants. They're just piling out of there. Typically, when you're doing air layers, within 6 weeks, you can take the propagation off whatever you use. It should have taken in just an 8 weeks time. So if we'd have taken this off as soon as it was done, we probably wouldn't have this issue with ants right now. Boy, these things are all over the place. We have roots on this one also. So we're going to knock all these ants out of here, and then we're going to root this, we're going to pot this one up. But those are nice roots right there. You can see all those ants that are in there. Not bad. So yeah, the propagation balls, they work. If you think you want to give it a try, I recommend it. There are easier methods. There are cheaper methods. If you don't want to spend the money, look up the bagging method. And I have to say the bagging method I probably like it better than these root balls. And if I do any, well, I'll be doing more propagating in the middle of the summer, doing air layers. I probably won't use this as much as I'm going to be going into and doing the bagging method. So I hope you enjoyed the review, and leave us a comment and tell us what's your favorite way to propagate. And thanks for watching.